What is up, guys? This is Troy from Sweet Revs. Today we got a Mini Cooper Coupe. We're going to be doing all in gloss black. The owner of the car did have a lot of damage on it, and they did take it somewhere else to get everything body filled and straightened out. We are going to be installing it over with no primer, no nothing, which is perfectly fine, guys, as long as you have everything smoothed out to at least 420 grit or higher. The material will stick to it perfectly fine. You might have to use a little bit of adhesive promoter on the edges of some stress points, but other than that, everything should stick perfectly fine. We're going to get started on the hood. We got everything removed. We're going to get started, see how it comes out. Then we're going to be moving on to the easier ends, such as the front end of this fender, or the back end of this fender. Then we're going to move on to the quarter panel, the rear end, and try to do everything that we can that doesn't require removal of a lot of parts today. So we're gonna get this hood all ready to go and flattened out, and I'll put you guys on a time lapse so you guys could see the procedure of how to get this Mini Cooper hood done, because it is a little difficult just because of this front end where the headlights go, the headlight bezels and everything go. We're gonna get it as perfectly as we can, and hopefully everything pans out correctly, and I'll show you the procedure now. Thank you, guys. Let me put some music on and put you guys on time lapse just so it won't be so long. Let's get to wrapping. Okay, guys, at this point I am going to slow down the video and show you exactly how to do it. It is kind of hard, and as you can see with this weird angle right here, it goes to the front and to the side. It makes a lot of slack on the material, but what you're going to want to do from here is get it at least up to here. Try to stretch as forward as you can without overstretching the material. Just heat it, stretch it forward, and then from here, when we tack all this front end and get all this flat as we can, as you can see on the other side, we are going to pull to the driver's side and back from the car. So you're going to pull against the rest of the hood, and you're going to be pulling to the back. So you could stretch this over here, and then you're going to have the tension going sideways along the edges, guys. The reason why you're going to want to do this is because if you're going to stretch everything all at one time, you're going to have the slack ending right here, and it's going to lift exactly how it's laying right now. So let me show you how to do that. Hopefully we can get it done hopefully we can get it perfectly the first time, and you guys won't have to be so confused, but here we go. Here you're going to want to get a triangle on this side, and you're going to want to kind of pull to the front end of the vehicle. As you can see, we're going to get all this completely wrapped, and since we're pulling this way still, we're not going to be fighting against the material as much. But as you can see, since we pulled to the front and straight to like horizontal with the hood, we're going to create a lot of slack here. And that's fine, guys. Like I said, that's where it's going to create the most slack. But since there's slack here and it's going vertical with the edges, if this ever heats up enough to where it is going to move, it's going to start running this way. The fingers are going to start running this way, and you're going to have a pullback with that area right there. As you can see, you're going to want to lift it as much as you can from where those fingers are created. And we're going to create a line like this, a flat line that you can see everything is glassed, so we could evenly stretch to the back end of the vehicle. So we're going to get this and lift it up to at least right here, just so we could get this side down, heat it, you're going to want to get some generous heat on there. You're going to put your hand on the back end, stretch backwards, and pull this part downwards, making sure you still have glass on the top end, and start stretching this to the back end of the vehicle, just like that, just like that. So as you can see now, the tension lines are running towards the back of the vehicle, and as you can see, take it down right here. And if you could see, all this is done correctly. If it's done correctly, once you heat it, you're going to see that the tension lines are going to shrink with just a little bit of downwards tension right here. Get that all tagged down. There you go. And just this right here. As you can see, now it's relaxed to the edge, and there was no vertical tension lines right there. Same thing over here. You're going to want to pick it up a little bit from the edge and relax it. Make sure everything is where it's supposed to be, guys. Just like that. We're using cheetah wrap, so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to tack down the edges first, then work the inside area. But as you can see, just with a little bit of upward tension, not even upward tension because we're going to shrink it. All this is going to flatten it out by itself. We got it squeegeed out to the middle of the hood, so all we're going to do is work from here up. And since this is a indentation right here, most of the slack is going to be taken out when we work the deep recess of this area. So what you're going to want to do after that is you're going to want to post heat all these edges. Just make sure there's no movement. If there is, what you can do is lift it from these stress lines right here and kind of triangle it to this corner right here. So as you can see, you're going to want to kind of relax it. And since that's pulling backwards, what we could do is kind of pull to this corner right here, just like that. And as you can see, since we have quite a bit of tension sideways, we could kind of relieve all this tension just like that. By heating it and shrinking it, you could kind of relieve all that tension and get it all flattened out. And that is going to help this bottom end with its fingering issue. From there, if we post heat this, everything's working sideways, so there isn't going to be no fingers popping up here anymore. So that's what you're going to want to do most of the time, guys, when you have these crazy these crazy cars with these crazy body lines and shapes, you're just going to want to kind of work to the horizontal wise to these edges. So for instance, this you're going to want to stretch to the sides of the vehicle. This you're going to want to stretch downwards. This you're going to want to stretch this way. And then if you already stretched this way, since you can't pull any more this way because it's going to create slack on this end, you're going to want to kind of anchor it down this way and then pull to the back end so you can get all this horizontal as well. Also by making sure everything is glassed on the top, guys, just how it is right here, so you won't have any issues squeegeeing the middle of the hood. But that's how you do a Mini Cooper hood. As long as you get the tension correctly, guys, and your material has a good shrink on it, everything should go down perfectly. So all we got to do is get all these bubbles out of the troubled areas, such as this one down here. And like I said, since we do the middle first, and then we do since we tack down the edges first and then attack the middle, you might have a little bit of air bubbles in the middle of these panels. So all you're going to want to do is work them to the edges, lift it a bit, and then get them squeegeed out, just like that. So all we need to do is work on that middle area. We're good to go. From here, guys, when you do trim out these, you are still gonna want to relax all the edges, guys. So what I do is I cut a hole smaller than where the headlight's gonna go, or wherever these parts are gonna go. Then I lift it from the inner edge, and then I post heat it after that, so I can make sure there's no edges that are gonna be peeling up or pulling back, guys. So let me get done with the rest of this. I do have not too much space in my phone for these videos, so let me delete some and then we'll get back to wrapping the whole vehicle. Alright guys, we're going to start on the roof today. Got everything measured out. Everything's overhanging. Good thing is that this roof is 5 feet by 46 inches. So we don't have to waste that much material. But just make sure everything is overhanging, guys. Everything is covered. After that, you're going to want to wipe everything down. Make sure it's to the right position. Blow everything off. Just like that. And then we'll get to wrapping, guys. Let me put you on a time lapse and we'll get this done. And that is how you get a Mini Cooper roof done. I do want to state that most of the car is body worked. So most of the roof has some body filler in it that's just sanded, guys, not primed over. So on these deep recesses, there's a lot of Bondo here. So I put some adhesive promoter from here to here, and that's about it, guys. You don't want it all over the place because it will leave the adhesive residue after you remove this. So you don't want too much all over the place, but you do want high tension areas, which is tension that are places that you have to stretch into to have that, just in case, guys. As you can see, I didn't use anything on anything else, but just there. So let's get to wiping off these panels. All I want to do today is this on both sides, the roof, and then maybe the trunk if it's not so hard to take apart. I did do one of these before. I do remove this just so I could get underneath it, just so we could cover everything for when this is actually up and active. I'm just gonna take off these with the eraser wheel, and as you can see, I got the tail light bezel taken off of this side. Gonna figure it out on that side. I did take off the antenna, which it is just the antenna. You screw it out, and then it's I don't know what size it is. I used an adjustable screw. It has a little plastic screw, and then the other one just pops off. It will fall in like that, guys, but don't get scared. Let me show you why. Because if you take this trim piece, or at least loosen it, just pop it up, and look in here, there is one wire. Let me see if I could get it for you. There is one wire. I believe it is this one right here. Is it? Yeah, it's this one. And from there, you could see that you could actually move it and somehow fish it this way, just like that. And you could just poke it out and grab it from the outside, and then it's going to be this piece first, and then this screw, what I'm talking about, it's like about a 19 to 21, something like that. That goes screwed on over that, and then this goes over everything, and then of course your antenna. So there's that. I don't think you have to remove the tail lights. Once the tail lights removed, guys, it makes it a lot harder, just because there's an empty space where the material tends to slack up. I like to leave them on just so it could make it a flat surface that you could actually stretch around evenly. Other than that, guys, let's get to wrapping this. Tomorrow we're gonna get door handles and side mirrors taken off so we could do the whole side, and then we're probably gonna be painting these gloss black. The only reason is because on the other side there's a lot of damage to it, so we're probably gonna sand this smooth and we're gonna paint it. There is ways of wrapping this, guys, but I've never wrapped this completely and successfully, because you have to put a lot of pre-stretch into it, or a cold stretch into it, just so it could contour to this one piece. As you can see, it goes all the way from here to down there and all the way around. You can do this, guys, you can, but it is a lot of it's a lot of chances for failure, guys. You don't want this to lift up over time, and since this car is primed and has a lot of damage, I don't think the customer is going to mind. Like, he's a good friend of mine, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna message him, tell him that I'm doing that. You don't want to do that unless the customer is known or is notified about it. So I'm gonna message him, see if he's okay with it, then go on to wrapping the rest of it. Yeah, guys, so far so good. We got pretty much the whole front end done. We just need the back end and the front bumper. Front bumper is pretty okay because it only goes up to here. You don't have to stretch that much. All you need to do is put a couple of inlays and pop this sucker in the vent area, and then you can wrap it. You don't have to take it all the way out, just pop it in, so you could do all this around it and into it, and then we're good to go from there, guys. Let's measure this out. I believe from the top to the bottom ends is less than 30 inches, so you don't really have to cut a whole two pieces of 5 things wide, all you need to do is measure from the front to the back of this panel, and then lay it out and cut it down the middle, and then you'll have enough for both sides. So let's get to doing that, and I'll show you the process on it. Alright guys, here I'm going to show you how to do the quarter panel on one piece on this little Mini Cooper. I was going to tell you through the video, but it turned out that it was going to be a little too long. I did just forward it and show you the steps on how to do this. You're going to want to work from the front of the vehicle all the way to the back. This ensures that you're going to be able to have something to pull against. As you move to the back, you're going to want to be pulling straight back to the back of the car and then stretching downwards just a little bit. And as you do, you're going to want to start trimming and trimming on that bottom end to where you could get enough stretch that it won't hang up on the bumper. As you can see right here, I'm kind of just getting it as low as I can, and then I'm trimming it to the bottom of the bumper or the top of the bumper to get that slack out of that bottom end. And from there, I worked the tension to the top of the fender so you could evenly get the slack out of it. From here, all you're going to do is be cutting in between the gaps and then cutting around the tail light and tucking everything in perfectly. After that, you're going to want to be feeding in to this fender area around the wheel well so everything could look really nice and tucked in. From there, we're going to move to the front, and we're going to be tucking into the door just so you won't be seeing any of the stock color of this vehicle when the doors are closed, so everything could look super nice and tidy. And from there, we're good to go. There we go, guys. The whole quarter panel is done on both sides. We just need to do the gas cap on the other side. As you can see, we post-heated everything. Everything is around the edges and hugging the edges so it won't lift up. And if you can see in here, we don't have any fingers or anything lifting. Same down here. Everything, let's see if we can get a better angle on this. Also in there, as you can see, everything laid where it's supposed to. Same thing on the other side. Perfect. Just need the gas cap, and then it lays underneath that trim piece, so you don't have to tuck all the way in. But if you could get it underneath that, it will prevent the customer from pressure washing that piece of wrap and it lifting down the road. So same thing with this side. No fingers, nothing lifting. It might look a little wavy just because, like I said, there's a lot of Bondo underneath it. But also the bottom, it is hugging inwards, and all this is pretty much flat into the body. So none of this is going to lift over time, and this is how you're going to want to be doing a Mini Cooper coupe rear quarter panel. The bumper's pretty easy. Like I said, they're small. They're about a little bit more than 5 feet, I think. And then what we're gonna have to do is get all the door part. If there's no videos on the internet, I will show you that, but you actually have to remove the glass to get that side mirror out. So that's not fun, but better than having to do everything. Did I leave anything in there? No, no wonder they didn't want to open right. But anyways, there we go, guys. Hopefully that'll help you guys out if you're trying to do one of these cars, and have you get it done right and all wrapped up. Move on to the next one. So guys, just to put this in there, this was pretty hard to get out by hand. So what I did was I reached my hand in through that hole, as you can see there. I was reaching in Let me see if I could get it for you. I was reaching in this hole, just like that. Just like that, behind the right tail light. And I was able to get this piece, at least like to the bottom of that green part. I wasn't able to get it out. So what I did, instead of trying to figure out a way to push it in through the bottom by hand and kind of getting your hand scraped up and whatnot, get the antenna. Get whatever antenna that was on there and try to align it as perfectly as you can, because it's going to be a little lower than the hole, and screw it in and pull it out. And then from there you could put the green thing and the nut over it. You don't even have to remove it. You could literally put it on over the antenna that you have, depending on what antenna you got. But with this one, I was able to get the antenna on without having to worry so much of getting it through the underside. So just a little tip. Almost forgot to record again, guys. So we're here at the trunk now. Give me a second. I'm trying to get you guys on the tripod and at a good angle. So we're gonna do this in one piece. All we did was took off the little trigger for opening it and the trim around it. Give me 1 second. The trim around it. So this piece is 44 inches by less than 5 feet. So like I said before, guys, you could get this all done with the least material. Since you don't have to cut it long ways, you could cut it horizontally, and then from there we're going to get it all. Could actually move it a little bit more this way. But as you can see, you're going to want to stretch through the middle more, and then you're going to want to do triangles on the bottom so you can get the tension out of the middle here. We're just going to see if we got enough material in here. We do, but we're just going to line everything up. Just like that, I think. Maybe a little lower. Yeah, maybe a little lower on this side. Just like that. Just like that. And we're gonna want to kind of fiddle with this a little bit before we even get this laid out, because like I said, since we're gonna be stretching along this bottom area, we're gonna want to make sure that everything is covered, guys. So as of right now, everything is covered, or the piece is big enough to cover everything. So from here, we're going to want to give it a good tug and try to stretch the bottom end a little bit more than top end. So kind of drape it upwards. So we're going to want to concentrate on getting this flat and then this pulled up. So let me show you that. Kind of just like that. And then this side, we're gonna be kind of fiddling with it a little bit more. But from here, as you can see, all you need to do is get that sideways tension, and then make sure that the bottom is gonna be covered. So just the same way on this side, just like that. And there we go. We got just enough slack out of the middle end. So now we could heat it and work triangles to the bottom ends, just like that, because we took out a good amount of slack on this the center area, a really good amount of slack of that center area, and everything on top is still good to be covered. So from here, since we took out a whole bunch of slack, we're going to heat a good amount of area from the top to the bottom from this center point. From this center point to this bottom area, so we could work triangles on this bottom face. So let me show you that. Kind of don't want it to go up like that. And here, stretch it outwards a bit if you want. Or I would like to get this centerpiece tacked down. As you can see, that gives us a little bit easier place to work with here. Like I said, guys, these cast vinyls are a little easier to work with. You have a little bit more stretch and conformity than a lot of the calendar films, such as that stretch right there. As you can see, we got everything already laid out. Something like that, if you did it with a calendar film, you'll have trouble down the road because it's thicker and it'll stretch back with heat. So you're not going to want to do that with stuff like Tech Wrap and Vinyl Frog. You're going to want to try to relax the film as much as you can before you're laying it down. If I get another one of these to do with calendar, I'll show you guys that in a later time. But you're going to want to get this as stretched out as possible, and you're going to want to get that center point tacked down. So from here, if you could see all this slack, we are going to pick it up a little bit and try to get it as flat here on this top end as possible without creating too much tension here on this top end to where it won't lay flat. So as you can see, that is pretty perfect right there. And like I said, all you need to do from here is work this as a triangle. Let me get these out of the way. So same thing, and I'll lift it to those lines. Maybe a little more than that, just like that, just to get those wrinkles out. And then as you can see, if you create that tension, it's already glassing out, guys. So all you're gonna want to do is get it heated out and relaxed, and just lay it exactly like that, how it wants to be laid, with a little bit of tension going to the corners, working in triangles. So from here, just like that, get two sides of the film and lay it as flat as you can on this center area. Hopefully we can get this to where, there we go. So if you could get it to relax like that, guys, pretty much good to go. If it's fighting against you and creating fingers while you stretch it, of course, that's when you went too far. That's when you stretch too far. So down here, as you can see, there's a little bit of fingers. And what you're going to want to do is just create a little bit of tension downward, and that'll go away with just that little bit of tension. So as you can see, we're good to go. Alright guys, gonna forward this video a little bit because it was trailing on a little too long. As you can see, I'm cutting out some holes for the dowels that actually hold that hatch button section onto the hatch. After that, you're going to want to work from the bottom of the license plate area to the top, just pushing out all the air from the bottom to those holes, and then from there you're going to want to finish off the top end just as I'm doing right here. As you can see, I did get a little bit of dirt underneath the actual part, actual piece of the vinyl itself.
All you're going to want to do in that situation is get a rag, a brand new rag, soak it with a little bit of alcohol, and from there you can actually rub off a lot of the dirt without disturbing any of the adhesive or messing up the vinyl itself. So that's another little tip to set into your arsenal, just in case you don't have enough to redo a certain section, or if you're not wanting to do a whole piece again that's actually pretty complicated like this. But as you can see, we pretty much got everything good to go here, and we're just finishing up and getting it all wrapped up. After trimming out all this hatch, you're going to want to work on the spoiler area. What you're going to want to do is create a cut right down the middle in the center of that spoiler area, and use your hand to reach to the back of the vinyl and feed it into all the deep recesses that it has, just so you won't have a lot of stretch and tension underneath that spoiler, so it won't lift over time.
Alright guys, sorry about that. Just debating which way is the best way to go about this door. As you can see, we got it cut out. It's a little bit under the top of this, but like I said, we're putting a trim right on top of that. So, got the door handle cut out. And what I used for that was a tool from Yellow Tools, I believe. It's just a string that you put, or a metal wire that you put around this so you can get a rough cut, and then you cut it out and install it over. I did tape off the door handle so we could not be hanging up on the door handle as well. So the only reason we're doing it like this, guys, like I said, is because the windows don't roll down. I don't know why that is. This car did get some body work done to it not too long ago, so they might have not connected something, or I don't know what happened there. But unfortunately for these cars, you actually have to roll down the window to get these door handles off, because you have to take out the glass and everything. So we're gonna have to work around it. We're gonna start off by tacking the back end right here, trying to get it as to the edge as possible to this door handle, and then we are gonna stretch forward and try to get it all flat. This is the first time I'm doing this on this car, so bear with me, guys. You're seeing everything learned in real time. So here we're gonna get it to the edge of this door handle, get it tacked down right around it, right there. As you can see, we're getting it flat all on the back end of this door handle right here. What you're gonna want to do, you're gonna want to put a magnet to anchor it to that side, and then from here we're actually going to stretch a little bit to the front. Let me try to get out of your guys' way while I do this, just so I could give you guys more better idea how. Okay, there you go. So from here, we're going to stretch it to the front of the car, guys. You're not going to clear that door handle right off the back. We're going to have to trim it out quite a bit more to clear that door handle. So you're going to want to do this in small increments, guys, just to where you can get the door handle trimmed out evenly. And so it won't be creating too much tension for the rest of the door. But as you can see, there's quite a bit of tension right here. I'm going to start off by trimming it slowly. And once you get it to a certain spot, it's going to want to drape down by itself. As you can see, you're going to want to try to get as forward tension as you can, guys, just so you could
see if we could get this around this door handle. Like I said, we're going to be cutting in small increments. You don't want to cut too much to where you don't have enough film to cover around that door handle. There we go. And that actually looks perfect right there. From here we could actually pull the tension up and downwards on the door. And we could probably get this flattened out, as you can see, just like that. Just like that, guys. Boom, perfect. So just by cutting this out and kind of working around it, and we got it enough to where we could at least get to the edge of this door cup, and then we could inlay another piece to where it's going to be covering it. But then from there, you're going to want to work this front end. There you go. And then from there we can work the rest of the door. It's just the tension, guys. You're going to want that tension to work from the middle outwards, like all the other panels that we've been doing. You're just going to want to get that tension in the middle of the panel and work outwards from it. And that's going to make your easiest bet on every panel, guys. So as you can see, got everything flattened out on the top end. You're not going to want to create too much tension, guys, just enough to where everything lays flat by itself. With that forward and back tension, guys, as you can see here, I'll get you guys up close. Actually, let me put you guys on this side, just so you guys can see how good that laid. As you can see, that laid perfectly on the top end already. So now we're just going to work the bottom end, and from here, since we have a good amount of space, and this film is pretty easy to, pretty thin enough to where you could, where it's pliable enough to where you could just stretch it down to get it to where it wants to be, just like this, just like that. Bam. Boom, guys. That laid perfectly, actually. Amazing. I thought this was going to be a lot worse than what it looked like. But from here, we're going to get this rest of this backing paper peeled up. And we're going to use all this tension to pull downwards. And hopefully get all this straightened out. This door doesn't have so much of curvature, so you really don't have to worry that much about it bunching up in the middle, as long as you get the tension good, guys. So as you can see right there, we actually got it flat enough to where we can start working it around a door handle. Now with a little bit of heat, guys, this will probably shrink down, but if anything, we're just going to need heat on this back end, not this front end, because this front end is laying perfectly. If you want, you could kind of cut it off of this. It's hanging up on this turn signal right here. So just to create less tension, we're gonna trim out that the area where it's hanging up, and then from there, just a little bit of tension, guys, will get all of this flat.
Like I said, we're going to use a little bit of heat on that back end just to get it straightened out correctly. But on this front end, all it needs is just slightest bit of tension, guys. Slightest bit of tension, and everything is flat. There you go. Just like that. Perfect. That's perfection, guys. Now from here, since we're going to use heat, we're going to be able to pull all this little bit of slack to the back end a bit. As you can see, the film wants to kind of curl this way to the front end of the car. So if you pull it to the back, everything just lays out how it's supposed to be. So let me get my torch, turn off this AC real quick so everything won't be too cold. Let me get my torch. Let me show you guys how easy this stuff is gonna lay with just a little bit of heat and a little bit of tension. And this is the first time I'm doing it like this, guys. So like I said, it's not a hard thing to do. It's just about reading where the tension needs to be and what you could shrink. So from here, like I said, we're gonna put a little bit of heat on this top end just because this is where the tension is, and you're gonna want to get that tension away from that area. Yeah, as you can see, kind of wants to go down, so we're just gonna little bit of heat guys. It looks like a lot of heat, but it's not. It was just a little bit of heat to make it pliable. As you can see, now it kind of all wants to just lay where it wants to, where it's supposed to lay. And make sure you squeegee over everything twice, guys. You don't want to leave any air behind. But as you can see, everything is flat already. All we need to do is lift this piece, use some heat, and relax it, because we kind of stretched a little bit too much to the back. All you need to do is relax it, and it'll lay perfectly, guys, just like that. Boom. So everything else is flat. All you need to do is work the wrinkles out from the middle to the ends, just like this. But I don't want to burn myself. Done that many times before. And from the front end, you could just work it down. You want to follow those fingers. You're going to want to lay this material where it wants to lay. Just like that, as you can see, just a little bit upwards tension, and we got all this back into the door all flat. And here, we're just using a little bit of heat to straighten this all out. You're not going to want to stretch all that much, just a little back end tension, like I said. You're always going to want your tension to run from the back to the front of the car, especially on these flatter panels, just to make it a little easier to wrap. Just like that. And once you get this little bunching up, all you need to do is kind of stretch it outwards a bit. Stretch it outwards and down, and you'll get a whole bunch of this stuff to disperse. Like I said, you're just going to want to work it outwards, guys. So here, you're going to want to pull it outwards and down. As you can see, you don't need too much, you just need a very little bit. Just need a little bit of heat, a little bit of pressure, and you're gonna get this whole door done correctly. And there we go, guys. That's it. If you want to do one of these doors without taking off the door handles, there you go. That's all you need to do. We got enough forward and back tension right here around the door handle to just lay everything in correctly. We're going to use a tucking tool to get it as best tucked as we can, and then we're going to trim it out right to the edge. I don't like trimming to the edge, especially on stuff like this, but unfortunately, guys, like I said, we couldn't get the door handle off correctly just because of the mechanics of the door. If you want, you could actually cut on the top ends of this rubber gasket, just so you can make sure you're going to get coverage all around the door handle right here. And if you do it correctly, you could actually get a good chunk of that door cut wrapped just by working it around like this. 1 second, I'm kind of hung up right here. Kind of hung up right there. So here we go. I want to attack that side end of the door handle first, and then right here, bam. There we go, guys. Boom. If this was a commercial wrap, that would have been perfect. That's perfect coverage right here. So usually commercial wraps, you don't remove door handles, or depending on the commercial wrap, but usually on the more the companies that change their look a lot actually ask for you to keep door handles on and emblems on, so most people just wrap over them, and this is how they do it. They work around it. So from here, guys, like I said before, if you have an NT cutter, this is actually cake for it. This is actually the easiest part of the door. You're gonna want to heat it, lay your finger in between that just so it could tack down to the opposite side, which is the side skirt. And then you're gonna leave the blade out just a hair. And then you're gonna want to lay this right in between it. And just run that blade down that gap all the way through, guys. Cool thing is that if you do it correctly, even the front to the back or the back to the front, they'll meet exactly together right there, as you saw. Perfect line all the way down the bottom of the door. And there we go. There we go. We got the bottom of the door cut out. Now we're going to cut out the sides. I'm trying to make sure there's no air bubbles trapped behind. And the thing with cheetah wrap, it's cool because if you got a bubble in the middle of the panel, all you need to do is put some firm pressure on it and it'll find its way out somehow. You're going to want to go over it with still going to want to go over it with a little bit of heat, guys, just to see if there's any bubbles left over. It looks like we're good from there. So all we're going to do is we're going to trim out this door. We're going to get a piece to lay in the middle of that door handle area, and then we're going to work on the other door on the other side. So other than that, guys, the only thing that's left after these two doors is the bumpers. So let me finish off this door and then I'll show you the process of the bumpers. So guys, another tip when working on this car for getting off the spoiler on the top, it is all just clips. All you're going to need to take off is a 10 millimeter here and one on the other side. That you could get access to by just lifting the hatch. And there's two rubber gaskets, one right here and one on the other side. One right there. And you're just going to get a 10 millimeter, get that off, and with a little bit of force, guys, still need to wrap this and bolt it back on, but with just a little bit of force, prying up on these ends. So you're just going to want to get your hand under here and gently, don't force it all the way up at one time, just gently start picking it up and the clips will start coming off. As you can see, we didn't break any of them. So that's all you're gonna need to do to get that off. And then after that, I believe it's just these two screws holding it together, these, and I believe this, and it'll separate in two parts. So you're gonna have that bottom piece and then this whole top wing spoiler thing. So that's going to be on two pieces. We're going to do the deck first, and then we're going to do the top end, I believe, in two pieces as well, because it's split down the middle on the back side. If not, we're going to probably try to get all that top end done in one piece, but I believe that is nearly impossible. So got that done. The whole side of this vehicle is done already, put back together, and as you can see, you don't see any of the orange even without taking the door handle off. All we need to do is the bumpers and this side door right here. So let me get to doing that, and then we're gonna worry about the front bumper and leave this stuff for a little later. Hopefully we could get it all done today. The bumpers aren't so bad. They're super small and they don't go all the way from side to side, so you don't need a tremendous amount of stretch to get this all flat. And since we're using Cheetah, this is going to be a breeze. But let's get this all cleaned off. Since I took that off, as you can see, there's a lot of dirt underneath it. It just kind of shaked all onto the car. So let me blow this off, let me wipe it down, and then we'll get to doing this. Finish the other pieces in a bit, and hopefully we could get done today, guys. Alright guys, we're getting to finishing off this Mini Cooper wrap. Right now we're going to be doing the rear bumper. I'll be putting you guys on time lapse because it's pretty easy, guys. Same as the front. I'm going to want to stretch the sides a bit, but this one's actually a little bit flatter and doesn't have so much curvature compared to the front one. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this all wrapped up. Then we're going to move on to the spoiler, which is going to be the last piece, and then we're good to go. But let me put you guys on the time lapse real quick, and then we'll get this finished, and then we'll get this finished, and then we'll move on to the spoiler and finish this off.
And this is a finished product, guys. Total transformation for this car from body filler and Bondo to nothing but gloss black all over this vehicle, looking brand new, guys. The customer totally loved it. She was a little shy on coming out on camera, so let me show you the little video that I did get of her reaction, just a little section, and the finished product of this vehicle. I really appreciate everyone that watches these videos, and I really love making them. So if you guys love it, subscribe, like, leave a comment on what car you would like me to do and what color you would like me to do. And hopefully I could get that for you. And I'll be forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.
That is nice. That looks awesome. Like I said, it just